Alright, hey guys. If you made it to this video, congratulations. I'm glad that you were here watching. For the Odyssey, this is by far the most important article. And I really believe that you owe it to these men to at least hear how they died. I didn't tell you in the article because it ends up being like 2,000 words, so I didn't want you guys to lose interest. And I wanted to make a video of it is because sometimes when you read something, it doesn't always click what happened. I need it to click with you what happened in Benghazi, September 11th, 2012. We had the ambassador, Chris Stevens, over there. He was sent into Benghazi to collect information on rebel Libyan fighters. We weren't sure what side they were on, so we sent our ambassador over there. On September 8th, the Libyans sent word to the United States that the security situation in Benghazi is deteriorating and warned us to back off. So there's one warning. 3 days before the attack. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of what happened, I'm going to tell you what they could have. So, near Benghazi, on September 11th, there was 2 U.S. bases that could have responded to Benghazi. One was in Croatia, Spain, and the other in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Now, 22 hours after the attack, the soldiers from Croatia arrived in Sicily, Italy, late Wednesday, and the other team reached there that came from Fort Bragg 90 minutes later, 22 and 23 hours after the Benghazi attack. Far, far, far too late. But there was another base in Tripoli. They wanted to rush to Benghazi and help out, but they were getting a stand-down order. Didn't hear that, did you? Let me tell you something. Warning after warning was given. Benghazi was a ticking time bomb, and they all knew it. It was unsteady, it was unpredictable, and they were denied extra security. Benghazi had already been attacked twice before this. They were given 4,000 warnings in detail. But because it wasn't a tactical warning, they were brushing it off. The State Department, everybody in Washington was kind of brushing it off. Oh, it'll be okay. We don't need extra security. They tried to blame it on the ambassador, saying that they might have wanted to keep a lower security profile because of the instability. I don't believe that. Now back to Benghazi. There were 3 separate requests put in to the United States and all 3 were denied. 3 separate requests. There were no problems with communications. The communications were steady and they were in constant radio contact. Delta Force was even on standby 480 miles away. They could have gotten to Benghazi in 2 hours, but they were given a stand-down order. There's drones filming the whole entire attack from the time it started at 9:42 p.m. to about 5 a.m. So approximately 8 hours they were fighting, and the drones caught every single detail. And every single detail was in a live feed and could have been, it was sent to computers in Washington that the State Department, the CIA, the Pentagon, and the White House could have easily tapped into. But they didn't. We did nothing. Hillary Clinton went to bed. And she even said she went home. Since you know about all the Americans, I need to tell you how they died. At 9:42 p.m., it's been pretty quiet up till now. At 9:42, gunfire erupts. There was a loud explosion as terrorists destroyed the gate to the compound. They set fire to the barracks and then they headed straight for Ambassador Stevens' quarters. At 10 o'clock, Christopher Stevens, Sean Smith, and another security guard run to the safe room. There's a safe room in the building, and I'm just going to say that these militants were very heavily armed. They had RPGs, machine guns. They were no match. It was a slaughter. At 10:05, from Christopher Stevens is still alive at this point, at 10:05, an alert is sent to the security annex a mile away. The same alert that Chris Stevens sent goes to the State Department and to a U.S. embassy in Tripoli, the same one that wanted to rush to the aid of them. That's probably when they got it. But they were given the stand-down order. The environment in Benghazi was incredibly unstable. It was unpredictable. And a few months before, Stevens had asked for more security, including the steel gate that they blew up. But it was just no match. I think they only spent $100,000 on security detail for Chris Stevens. It was grossly inadequate. By this time, it is now 10:30 in Benghazi time. By 10:30, the metal bars that kept the extremists from getting to where Chris and Sean were, they were stopping these militants. So, you know what they did? They burned diesel fuel and they smoked them out. Around the same time, the 6-man team set out to answer the distress call. Now, that 6-man team had been told to stand down twice. The first time they listened, the second time, this is where they went. At 10:30, one of them, the leader, was Tyrone Woods. Around that time, in between 10:15 and 10:45, somewhere around that time, Sean's body was found, and they didn't find the ambassador. Okay, so back in Washington, about the same time, Washington time, it's apparently frantic in Washington. Leon Panetta and the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, Martin Dempsey, meet with Obama. By 12:07, so 2 hours later, Benghazi time, and 6:07 Washington time, the State Department gets around to sending an email to the White House, the Pentagon, and the FBI. And they figure out that the Islamic terror group Ansar al-Sharia claims responsibility on social media. So it was a terrorist group in Libya. By 1 a.m., an eyewitness sees the ambassador being pulled from the consulate on video. He takes a picture of it, and that is the last time you see Chris Stevens alive. Now, at 1:15, another SEAL comes to the consulate at Glen Doherty. I know I'm saying that wrong, and I apologize. He arrives in Benghazi to help Tyrone, because they'd worked together as a SEAL team. Now, by 4 a.m., Glenn and Tyrone had teamed up at the Annex, and these guys spent hours all night long protecting at least 30 Americans, and they saved every one of them. They saved everybody out of there. They were able to protect them. And then between 4 and 5 a.m., the attack on Benghazi it's a full frontal assault. It's just all hell breaks loose. They unleash on these men. And between that time, because they're Navy SEALs and they're so badass, that these people needed mortars. The 3 to 4 mortars are dropped on the complex. And, obviously Glenn and Tyrone are killed. So they all died heroes. They died protecting these people in the Annex, and they rescued 30 Americans. But the 4 are dead. And those, my friends, are the secret soldiers of Benghazi. Nobody did anything. And it was up to Madam Secretary to take care of it, and she didn't. Guys, we completely abandoned them. I'm just gonna say it. We completely abandoned them. But what we can do right now to fix it is we can remember them. We can remember how they died and that they died heroes and they died doing what they loved. I challenge you to look them up a little more. Do a little more of your own research. Because they left families behind, and those families are obviously still hurting. I got this shirt, if you are interested, from 9 Line Apparel, which is a military store. Run by veterans, owned by veterans, for veterans. And they have this. It has men do not die until they are forgotten. I just want to make sure I got it right. Then Remember Benghazi, and it has September 11th, 2012, and then the 4 names of the 4 dead Americans. So I'll say, remember the secret soldiers of Benghazi, and that you're here today because they died.